Good morning, everybody, and welcome you all once again. I hope you all would have enjoyed this puja vacation. In our previous video, we were discussing about poverty as a challenge, and in last video, we have discussed up to causes of poverty. Now, in this video, we will discuss about anti-poverty measures, poverty alleviation programs that was made by the government. So, we already came to know that how severe intensity of poverty was in our country during 50s. That's why after independence, removal of poverty has been one of the major objective of Indian development strategy. So we already have discussed that almost about half of the population were living below poverty line, and also we have demarcated poverty line on the basis of minimum subsistence level. So we could understand the intensity or severity of poverty during 50s, that half of the population go to their bed without having a square meal. So that's why it was obvious that after independence our political fraternity pay proper attention to combat poverty, to remove poverty. Now the anti-poverty measures that was taken, it has two planks. The current anti-poverty strategy of the government is based broadly on two planks. What were these two planks? One is promotion of economic growth and other is targeted anti-poverty programs. Now there is direct relation between poverty eradication and economic growth. We know that if economy of the country will grow, it will lead to increase in the national income, and increase in the national income will lead to increase in per capita income, and that will be helpful in combating poverty. So later on we will discuss how this economic growth is related with poverty alleviation. Also, the second plank is targeted anti-poverty programs. Now let's if someone is hungry now, want food, we are in a situation of starvation, so what you will say to such person? So can we say this person to wait for 2 or 3 years for food? Means what? Ki some population need immediate help. Those who are suffering from a problem of starvation or even subsistence, so such population need immediate help. So that's why poverty alleviation programs also has two planks. One is economic growth, that is long term measures. Whatever long term measures that will be taken to eradicate poverty, it will concentrate upon economic growth. But still certain population in the country will be there that need immediate help, and to those people a short term measures is being taken. So it is also one of the important question, what are the two planks upon which poverty alleviation programs depend. So it depends upon two, it has two planks, one promotion of economic growth and two targeted anti-poverty programs. Now over a period of 30 years lasting up to early 80s, there were little per capita income growth and not much reduction in poverty. Although after independence first 5-year plan was made and it concentrate upon eradication of poverty, also several other poverty eradication measures, poverty alleviation programs had been made, but the desirable result would not have been achieved. So that's why from 50 to 80s, so our economy was growing with a very slow rate, and that's why we also were not very successful in combating poverty in this 30 years, 50 to 80s. But after 80s our economy grew rapidly, and that was helpful in reducing the intensity of poverty. So if you will compare here, you could see what was the condition of India and China. So in 1980s the economy of China was of 191 billion, whereas the economy of India was of 186 billion. So we could see here कि not much difference was there in the economy of India and China up to 80s. But what happened after that? After 80s, the economy of China grew so rapidly. So in 2018, the economy of China was of worth $1,360 billion, whereas the economy of India in 2018 was of $2,718 billion. So $13,608 billion in 2018 Chinese economy, and Indian economy is of $2,718 billion. That means much difference was there after 80s between the economy of India and China. So whatever economic reform, the measures to economic reform that was taken by Indian government, it was in 90s. After 90s, we adopted new economic policy that was based upon liberalization, privatization, globalization. But similar economic policy was adopted by China during 80s. And that's why after 80s, China started registering a rapid economic growth and also was very successful in reducing the intensity of poverty. We already have seen in a chart that how rapid reduction occurred in China of percentage number of people living below poverty line. Although after 80s, some improvement occurred in economic growth as well as reduction in the poverty, percentage number of people living under poverty line. Official poverty estimates, which were about 45% in the early 1950s, remain the same even in early 80s. Not much improvement occurred from 50s to 80s. So here also you could see the condition of economic growth of India. So actually 65 to 70 some economic growth could be seen, although it was very low. During 17 and 75, the economy destabilized once again. After 90s, some stabilization occurred in economic growth, but it also leads to increase in the disparity. You could see here increase in the economic disparity during 2000-2005, and this disparity reduced after 2005. So actually we were able to reduce the percentage number of people living below poverty line, but the economic inequality has increases during that time period, although it declined after 2005. The economic disparity declining trend is there after 2005. Now, how you could say that there is a link between economic growth and poverty? One important question that is being asked generally. There is a strong link between economic growth and poverty. So suppose the question will be asked, how you could say that there is a link between economic growth and poverty, what you are going to write? So since the 80s, India's economic growth has been one of the fastest in the world. After 80s, the growth rate jumped from the average of about 3.5% year in the 1970s to about 6% during the 1980s and 1990s. The higher growth rate have helped significantly in the reduction of poverty. Therefore, it is becoming clear that there is a strong link between economic growth and poverty reduction. So, if the question is of 3 marks, you will write this content only. But suppose if the question will be asked in 5 marks, you will extend that answer, and in extension you could write कि economic growth widen opportunities and provide the resources needed to invest in human development. This also encourages people to send their children, including the girl child, to school in the hope of getting better economic return from investing in education, and overall it will lead to improvement in educational condition, it will lead to improvement in health condition of the population, and ultimately it will be fruitful for economic growth and development. So now why we need targeted anti-poverty measures? So one plank was improvement in the economy of the country, economic growth, and other plank was targeted anti-poverty measures. So why we felt the need for targeted anti-poverty measures? The poor may not be able to take direct advantages from the opportunities created by economic growth. Moreover, growth in the agriculture sector especially is much below expectation. Although in the secondary and tertiary sector, handsome growth occurred in the secondary and tertiary sector, but still even after 80s, not much improvement occurred in the growth of agriculture sector, and we already know that more than 50% of the population were dependent upon agriculture sector. So this has a direct bearing on poverty, as a large number of poor people live in village and are dependent on agriculture. In these circumstances, there is a clear need for targeted anti-poverty programs. So this is also one of the important questions, why we felt the need for targeted anti-poverty programs. Although there are so many schemes which are formulated to affect poverty directly or indirectly, some of them are worth mentioning. Now, what were the measures taken to eradicate poverty? What were the measures taken to combat poverty? What were the poverty alleviation programs? So what were the language of the question will be there. You will mention point wise all those program policies that was made by the government for eradication of poverty. Now, first of all, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee. So whatever this anti-poverty programs are there, so at least you will memorize when this scheme or program were launched, as well as what were the objectives of this program. So initially when it was launched, it was called NREGA, National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, but after that it was renamed as Mahatma Gandhi. The name of Mahatma Gandhi was added in this program, and later on nowadays it is known as Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. So we know that right to work was given to the people, as we already know that right to education, when extended right was given to the people, right to education. So now government need to make laws to fulfill this right, and that's why government passed legislation that state that free and compulsory education will be provided to children up to 6 to 14 years. The same way, when this extended right to work was given to the people, then government will have to make policies or program in such direction, and that's why government came with Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. This act aims to provide 100 days of wage employment to every household to ensure livelihood security in rural areas. So basically this program is to provide guarantee of job, at least 100 days job to the poor. It also aims at sustainable development to address the cause of drought, deforestation, soil erosion, etc. 1/3 of the proposed job have been reserved under MNREGA. 1/3 of the proposed job have been reserved for women. The scheme provides employment to 220 crore person days of employment to 4.78 crore household. The share of scheduled caste is 23%. The share of scheduled tribe is 17%, and share of women is 53%. The share of SC/ST women person days in the scheme. Now this person days, what does it mean? Number of days that was given to the person. For example, suppose if one person is given 75 days work, so person days is equal to 75 into 1, that means 75. Suppose two person had been given work for 200 days. So person days will be then 200 into 2, that means 400. So on this basis, center approved 30 crore person days for 2020 and 21. Later on, it was 3 crore person days also had been increased. So the target to provide person days in 2020-21, this financial year, is 33 crore person days. Now the average wage has increased. Initially when it was launched, the average minimum wage was rupees 65 in 2006-7, but it was increased to 132 in 2013-14. At present, the minimum wage under Manrega, it is 202 rupees. But although it differs state-wise, minimum agriculture wage in Gujarat is rupees 298. But under Manrega it was 194. Bihar 237 rupees minimum agriculture wage, but under Narega the minimum wage is 168. What does it mean? It means that although government gave guarantee to provide 100 days work, but the wages that has been determined under Narega, it is even less than the minimum agricultural wage of particular state. And here you could see much wider difference is there. For example, in Gujarat the difference is of 104 rupees, in Bihar it is of 69 rupees, in Jharkhand it is of 62 rupees. In southern state this difference is a bit less. Poverty alleviation program, first Manrega, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act 2005. After that, one ambitious planning also was there, Prime Minister Rozgar Yojana, PMRY, and this scheme was started in 1993. And the main objective of this scheme is to combat educated unemployment, to eradicate poverty. And for that, under Prime Minister Rozgar Yojana, the aim of this program is to create self-employment opportunity for educated unemployed youth in rural areas and small town. Initially when this PMRY was launched, actually the minimum qualification was matriculation, but now it had been reduced to 8th class. Those who had 8th pass also could apply for loan of rupees 1 lakh under this program, Pradhan Mantri Rozgar Yojana. Age criteria is 18 to 35 year. Residence, permanent residence for 3 years at the same location from where the person will apply loan, and collateral is not needed for loan up to rupees 1 lakh. 15% of the project cost is being given as subsidy that could maximum exceed to 7,500 rupees, and family income maximum should not be more than 40,000. Matlab family income should be less than 40,000. Beneficiaries, spouse or parents. So one eminent poverty alleviation program that was launched in 2005, it was Manrega. After that, Pradhan Mantri Rozgar Yojana. Now, Rural Employment Generation Program. This was launched in 1995, and the main aim of this program is to create self-employment opportunity in rural areas and small town. Target for creating 25 lakh new job has been set for the program under the 10th 5-year plan. So, Rural Employment Generation Program. Several such policies program had been made by the government. What we are mentioning here, some of the important program and some of such program that fetch some desirable or good result. So, about those we are mentioning here. Now, one was Swarn Jayanti Gram Swarojgar Yojana. Whatever I said you earlier, at least you will keep the name of the program in your mind, as well as when this program was launched and what were the objective of this program. For example, here Swarn Jayanti, and it will be clear from the name of the program as well. For example, if you will read Swarn Jayanti Gram Swarojgar Yojana. Swarojgar means what? Self-employment. So what would have been the objective of this program? To create self-employment. So Swarn Jayanti Gram, where self-employment? So village, rural areas. So this program must would have been, so from the name of the program it will be clear ki what would be the objective. So the program aim at bringing the assisted poor family above the poverty line by organizing them into self-help group through a mix of bank credit and government subsidy. According to this Swarn Jayanti Gram Swarojgar Yojana, government promote self-help group, and self-help group if is being organized by some villagers, so bank also provide cheap and affordable credit, especially to women if they organize under self-help group. So Swarn Jayanti Gram Swarojgar Yojana. After that, one ambitious program also was there, Pradhan Mantri Gramoday Yojana. It was launched in 2000, and additional central assistance is given to state for basic services such as primary health, primary education, rural shelter, rural drinking water, rural electrification. So for various purposes, this provide cheap and affordable credit to the people in the rural area under Pradhan Mantri Gramoday Yojana. So central assistance is being given to rural areas for infrastructural development, so as job opportunity could be created, especially in the rural areas. Now apart from that, one very important program that was launched, Antyodaya Ann Yojana. The Antyodaya Ann Yojana is the sponsored scheme of Government of India to provide highly subsidized food to millions of poorest families. So actually this is part of public distribution system. So under public distribution system, this Antyodaya Ann Yojana has been launched by the government. According to this Antyodaya Ann Yojana, Antyodaya, that means poorest of the poor, they will get 35 kg of grain free of cost every month. So Antyodaya Ann Yojana. Apart from that, in recent time, several scheme was launched by the government. For example, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, Ujjwala Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. So such kind of various planning and projection were made to combat poverty. But whatever this policy and program that was made to eradicate poverty, whether this was able to achieve desirable result. So if we will analyze the current scenario of poverty, we could say that whatever some improvement occurred in reduction, especially in the number of percentage number of people living below poverty line, as well as total number of people living below poverty line, but the desirable result that should be achieved had not been achieved till now. So the result of this program have been mixed. We could say the result of this program have been mixed. Some improvement occurred, but the desirable result would not have been achieved. What was reason for that? So this is also one of the important question. What were the impact of all those PAPs, poverty alleviation programs? So one of the major reason for the less effectiveness is the lack of proper implementation and right targeting. There is no loophole in the program or policies that was made, but it was obvious that whatever policy and program that was made by the government for combating poverty was not effectively implemented. So poor implementation of all those programs that had been made. So as we came to know, various program and similar kind of program under different name was launched at different time by different prime ministers. So actually this is overlapping of scheme also was responsible for less effectiveness of this program and policy that was made to eradicate poverty. So many several such program is there with same objective. It led to increase in the corruption as well as led to increase in the administrative expenditure rather than uplifting the condition of the poor. Although despite good intention, the benefit of this scheme are not fully reached to the deserving people. So actually suppose if a policy is being made, now those who is responsible to implement this, one loophole is being done, and the channel, the mediator through which that program runs, at every stage one loopholes occurred in those policies and program, and ultimately when this loop reached to the deserving people, it become empty. So actually rightly said by Rajiv Gandhi once that if 100 rupees is being allocated for the poor, even 1 rupees did not reach to the deserving people. So despite good intention, the benefit of this scheme are not fully reached to the deserving people. Now therefore the major emphasis in recent year is on proper monitoring of all the poverty alleviation programs, and one good decision was taken recently, that was DBT, direct benefit transfer. So many such loopholes could be eradicated through this direct benefit transfer. Now, why poverty reduction is expected to make better progress in the next 10 or 15 years? We hope so. Ki whatever at present, whatever condition of poverty at present is there, but at least we could hope that in the coming decade we will be able to combat poverty. This would be possible mainly due to higher economic growth, increased stress on universal free elementary education, declining population growth, increasing empowerment of women and the economically weaker sections of the society. Due all this, we could hope that we will be able to bring all those people who were living their life below poverty line, we could bring them at least at minimum subsistence level due all these factors. Now, why disparity in poverty are visible between rural and urban area among different states? So actually, what are the challenges ahead? Whatever poverty alleviation programs had been made till now, we are not able to achieve desirable result. Okay, but we hope so that in the next decade we will be able to reduce the percentage number of people at the desirable extent, but still we have many challenges ahead, and if we would like to achieve our target, that was to bring all the people above poverty line. So what are the challenges? So first of all, why disparity in poverty are visible between rural and urban area among different states? We will have to combat this disparity also. Rural poverty and urban poverty. So although in urban area poverty is visible because concentration of poverty occur at a particular place or area, but in rural areas poverty is scattered, it is not very visible. But even though the condition of rural poverty is a bit more challenging than urban poverty. So also you should have this in your mind, where poverty is more visible, in rural areas or urban area. Poverty is more visible in urban area. Why? Because the poor people reside in a particular place. That means concentration of poor occurred at a place, जिसको झुग्गी झोपड़ी और slum areas you could say in town. So actually, as you could see poverty in a concentrated form, so you can observe that. But in rural area it is scattered. But it is fact that intensity of poverty is more in rural areas rather than urban area. Now, certain social and economic group are more vulnerable to poverty. We will have to provide protection to such vulnerable group. Now, the official definition of poverty, however, captured only a limited part of what poverty really means to people, and that is important. Official definition of poverty is what? If somebody could manage to lead their life at minimum subsistence level, then they are considered above poverty line. But whether they will be able to avail nutritional food, whether they will be able to avail better education or health facilities, no. So can't we consider those poor? That's why now we need to broaden the definition of poverty. Poverty has certainly declined in India, but these challenges are ahead to us. Despite the progress, poverty reduction remains India's most compelling challenge. So many scholars advocate that we must broaden the concept of poverty. Whatever our concept of poverty, it is based upon minimum subsistence level, but now we also felt the need to widen this definition of poverty. A large number of people may have been able to feed themselves, and we could consider them above poverty line, but still we need to ask, do they have education? Do they have shelter or health care? Do they have job security? If they have self-confidence, are they free from caste and gender discrimination? Is the practice of child labor still is common? So such questions need to be asked. So that means only to say that if somebody could get managed to feed themselves, they are not poor. So we need to widen the concept of poverty, definition of poverty. Worldwide experiences shows that with the development, the definition of what constitutes poverty also change. Eradication of poverty is always a moving target. That's why eradication of poverty is always a moving target. Fully, we will be able to provide the minimum necessary in terms of only income to all people by the end of the next decade. So generally it is being asked, eradication of poverty always is a moving target. Explain or justify the statement. Now the target will move on for many of the bigger challenges that still remain. We already discussed that poverty is one of the greatest challenge for us. But this challenge is not something that could be combated at a point of time, because it is a moving target. Once we will achieve one target, our first target is to bring all the people above poverty line. If we will be able to bring all the people above poverty line, now we will have new target, that is to provide them better health, better education. And if better health, better education, we will be able to provide them better health or better education. Now our target will be to provide them to improve their standard of living. So always it will be a moving target. Once we will be able to achieve one, another target will come. But still we have to fulfill our first target, that is brought all the people above poverty line. That means at least we could provide food so as they could survive to all the citizens of the country. So we hope so that could be done in the coming future, and there will be smile on the face of every child in the country. So that's all for this video, and that's all for this chapter also. In the next video we will discuss or we will revise some new chapter. Till then, have a nice day. Goodbye.